Okay. All right, so we are recording, and welcome to Teaching Tech Tuesday. And sorry for not, having the Teaching Tech Tuesday the last couple Tuesdays. Things just got crazy. So today we're going to be learning about digital choice boards and digital centers. And they can be used both with students in live time, and even students that choose to do the synchronous at-home learning could actually interact with students in your classroom during centers time. So there's a kind of a couple ideas that I was, coming up with, and based on inspiration of other teachers throughout the summer. So of course, if you have any suggestions or maybe something easier than my go-around way of doing things, then please let me know. All right, so I am going to share my screen, and I am recording, right? I'm pretty sure I am. Yes, okay. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen with y'all. Okie dokie. All right, so I think you can see my screen. And, oh, I think I'm on the wrong desktop. Okay, sorry. Here we go. Okay, so, and I'm gonna stop periodically for questions. Okay, so today is our 4th Teaching Tech Tuesday video. And today the question is, how can our students still collaborate during the school day? If they're not supposed to be near each other and they're not supposed to be, within 3 feet of each other, even with a mask on, how can we possibly have the students still interacting and working together? So today my idea and thoughts can help kind of get you started thinking of how you can do this by making digital choice boards and digital centers. And this can be used from pre-K all the way to 12. I put K, but pre-K too. So today we're gonna specifically learn about this objective. So participants, you all, will learn how to create virtual collaborative activities using hyperlinks, QR codes, and Google Docs. So we have a YouTube page, and I just wanted to remind all of you about that. So let me see if I can kind of minimize this a little bit. This is our link, and I will be sure to, at the end of the, once I stop screen sharing, because I don't think that I can add, oh, maybe I can do a chat. Oh, I can. Okay. So let me just put this in here. So this is our YouTube playlist that we have, Teaching Tech Tuesdays, and then a couple bonus videos. If you're part of the Bitmoji teachers group on Facebook, I shared with, like thousands of teachers this how to make a class app and how to make interactive sticker charts, and it's been downloaded over 5,000 times. So if you are interested in that, check it out. It's pretty cool. All right, so back to where I was. Let me see. Oh, because I think I went this way. Okay. And John is going to upload this video after I'm done, so that way if anyone misses or if you have to jump off, you can go back and watch. So today we're going to kind of look at the following type of activities. So how to do partner work using slides and Flipgrid, whole group using Jamboard, small groups using Jamboard or slides, and then individual work where a student would have their own specific, they could be working near a partner, but where they're doing their own responses, but then also with Padlet and Soapbox, other students can see what they're posting, but they're not posting together, if that makes sense. So the first thing we're going to look at today is choice boards. So there's a couple ways that you can do a choice board, and this is just funny. I chose today the theme of single digit multiplication because I figured that's pretty simple for all of us of whatever grade level or subject you teach. So this is a digital choice board that I made for pretend like centers. So I'm saying that students can choose 2 or pick 2 or however you do it. This is just an example. So I have a Kahoot where the students can either work on it together or by themselves. And then I also have Word, work with a partner on a word problem. This is annoying now, the GIF. And then work with a partner to solve problems. I also have, which is going to give me a hard time here because of this link down here, but let me see. I do have this part where students will click here at the end to turn in their work. So I'll just show you what this looks like, and then I'll show you how to do this. So this is the Kahoot that I have pre-made for the students that would just go over multiplication facts. So they can join the game by themselves, or you can set it up to where multiple students can play. You can, the other one that I did was solving a problem with, oh no, this was, okay, so the direction for this center would be write your name and your partner's name. So let's say you predetermined partners in your room that Billy and Susan are going to be together for centers for forever until, you know, until you say otherwise. And so Billy and Susan would go to click on, this is Jamboard, and it says, write your name and your partner's name. Work through the problem by drawing out your work. So even though if both me and Susan, or Billy and Susan, click on this same link in real time, because I've shared it with the group, or I've shared it with anyone that has a link, I can be drawing on my iPad, and Billy can be drawing on his iPad, and we can see each other's work at the same exact time. So this is called Jamboard. So there are 5 problems to solve together. Other groups will be working, so choose a quadrant and work there. So let's say that I'm with Billy, and it's 3 times 4. So together, using our iPads, I might, maybe we're picking this lower quadrant, and then the other groups that are working during centers can choose a different quadrant. Of course, you'd have to explain this in advance. This is, I'm assuming that the students have done this center before in the way that I've laid this out. So I might say, okay, so 1, 2, 3 times 4 times. So this is one group, it's hard to do it with my mouse, but it's way easier with the iPad. So that's 3 groups and then 4 groups. And then we would count them all together and come up with 12, okay? But basically, as I'm working, another student can be working in real time. So that's one idea. And then the other idea that I had in this group of centers was, I actually don't know which one I clicked on, I think 2. Okay, yes. And this is a word problem center. So again, students working together, Billy and Susan, again, I'm Susan and I'm working with Billy. We would both click on it, and we're gonna read the directions. And so I have voiceover directions for the students to listen to.
Please click on the video next to this sound button.
Okay, so and then I have a video here for students to listen to my directions that I've given them of what to do in this center. So basically, they have to create a word problem here. So the example is there are 5 watermelons in the watermelon patch. Each watermelon has 10 seeds. If you took all of the seeds out of the 5 watermelons, how many seeds would you have? Right, so 10 times 5. And then, so the students would have to put their answer here, and then it would be behind this little block. So it's kind of an engaging way for students to transfer their knowledge by making this word problem together. But again, if I share this out to my class, instead of making a copy, you know, a multitude of students could be working all at the same time on this document. So I could literally be moving something, and another student could be moving something as well. And of course, if you are in person together and I'm sitting 3 feet from a student, we can still talk about, okay, I'm gonna get all of the watermelons, you're gonna find the background. So we're working together, but on our own individual devices. Then of course, if a student is outside of the classroom, you can still do it in that way too. You just have to figure out what works for you and your class and your environment. Because I know some classes will have a live stream feed where the student can talk into the classroom. But some students might be doing, or some classrooms might have pre-recorded the lesson to where the student may be able to work in real time, but you might have to collaborate somehow with that student, whether it's through text on the Google Doc, or or calling the student, or however you figure out that you can make that collaboration work. So that was the choice board kind of that I come up with, and I just want to stop sharing for a quick second, because if you don't want to do that digitally, you can of course just turn each one into QR codes. So if you don't want to post that on Google Classroom, for example, a link to the digital choice board, you could simply just take the same choice board and add QR codes instead, and I'll show you how to do it super easy through Canvas. It's like incredibly easy. Anyway, so then the students, all they have to do is take their tablet, and if they have the Chromebooks, I believe, I saw Rick Farnsworth is on here. Oh, I have several people joining. Hello to everyone, hello. Rick, I believe that you can do this with a Chromebook as well. Is that correct? You can scan.
That's correct. Yep. Okay. The Google admin will just have to push a QR code reader through the console, and it works fine. We use them all the time.
Oh, perfect. So if you have Chromebooks, then reach out to Rick Farnsworth. Sorry, Rick. If you have an iPad or an Apple device, they're able to just use the camera. You don't even need to have a QR code. You just hold the camera up to the QR code, and then it pops up at the top a little, the link, and you just click on it, and it's going to bring you to that activity that you've linked. I'm sure most of you know that already, but I just wanted to show that. Are there any questions before I jump into how I made the choice board? And if you're just joining us, welcome. I just went over digital choice board, just the example of it, but you haven't missed the tutorial yet. So we're gonna jump into making it now. Okay. All right, well, I'm gonna share my screen again. Okay. There I am, okay. All right, so let's jump into it then. So for the choice board, so I'm in Canva. If you haven't seen Canva, it's incredible. It's an incredible tool for anyone to use, but particularly I love it as a teacher user because it's quick and it's fast, and you can download in multiple different ways, and it's just very user-friendly. So right now I have, this is an example of how I have the QR code. So let me actually go back because I want to grab the one that is not. Okay, so what I've done here, and I'm going to delete this because it's going to drive me crazy the whole time. To do that, by the way, if you're interested in creating a little clip of yourself, what you have to do is you take a video and you go to unscreen.com, and it turns your video into a GIF, and it takes away the background. So it's, I'm pretty sure it's called unscreen.com. So that's another way that you can add a little personalization to your content. Okay, so what I did here is I just, made a single sheet, and then I went through and I made my different activities. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with Kahoot. I, linked a game actually that was already, I don't remember if it was, I think it was pre-made. So I found a single digit multiplication flashcards type game. All I did was add the Kahoot image here. And to do that, to add any images, you'll go to either Elements or Photos. And let's say you want to just show like an iPad game. You can just type in iPad. And then you can choose from images here. What I did with this is I looked up just on Google, Kahoot. I think I just typed in Kahoot, and in images I just pulled their little logo. But of course you could just use something like this instead. And let me replace this. I'm just going to grab the link here. So if you're in Kahoot, let me minimize this a little bit and excuse my like background being terribly messy. I'm one of those where you like save it to the desktop so I can grab it quickly and then I sort it later, like on a Friday. Normally I'll sort my whole desktop. Okay, so if this is the Kahoot game that you want to push out to students, for example, and you want to link it in here. So I'm going to get rid of this graphic. And I'm going to move this guy up here because this is going to be my Kahoot game. And then maybe I would, change the description or something like click on the image for Kahoot game. So what I would do is I'm going to take whatever I want the students to go do. I'm going to grab the link at the top here, and I'm going to copy it. Oops. Oh, what? Hold on. Okay, so I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to click on the image that I've added in Canva. And if you have no clue what I'm talking about, on that YouTube page, I have several tutorials on Canva. So I'm just going to paste that link here, apply, and then that's it. And same thing here. So I took, this was a, let me just grab the link here. This was the Google Slides. And I'm going to show you too how to make sure that every student in your class can get on it. So this is the Google Slides. Now, of course, if you have single sign-on and you're integrating with Google Classroom, it's a lot easier because you can push this out through Google Classroom. Right now, I'm assuming that not everyone uses Google Classroom, so this is kind of the workaround way. So to share it out with students or to get this link to where basically even all of you, if I shared this link with you, all of you could go on because I have it shared to anyone with a link. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend that always because, you don't want anyone that has a link to get on, but right now for demonstration purposes, it's definitely fine. All right, so I'm going to click share. And so you can have it to where it'll say like anyone within your organization. But right now I'm just going to click on anyone with the link. But to change it, you would just click change. And there's different restrictions that you can add to it. And then you want to make sure that it's on editor. That's the biggest mistake that people make is they have it as just a viewer. And then students can get on and they can view it, but they can't add anything and they get confused. So you want to really make sure that it's on editor. And then you copy the link. And then that's it. So then it will if you put it here, it will show you the sharing. Okay. So that's the way that you can do that. Now, also, if you are to, like, let's say you want the students to do it just by themselves, again, it's easier in Google Classroom because if I wanted to post this as an assignment for students, it gives you the option to share it with the whole group or to make a copy. But if you're using something different like Schoology or Canvas as your LMS, which they also have Google integration. But if you're not integrated, to share it out where it says edit at the top here, you'll just write copy. And then, so now if I was to push this out here, it would say, would you want to make a copy? So that means that now if I sent this to all of you in the chat box, you can use this in, let me do that actually. So if I push this out, and you click on this, it will actually save a copy to you in your Google Drive. So that way, no, you're not seeing other people working on it. It's just your copy. So those are that's the two ways that you can share out Google documents, and that's the same with everything. So you have to be within the document. So you have to so let me see if I can give you one more quick example. Okay, so here's a good example. So I'm in this Bitmoji group on Facebook, and I highly recommend it if you haven't joined it. And so this woman, everyone shares on this group like crazy. So this woman made Zoom expectations and a Google Meet expectations, and she sent us a copy. So basically, you can take out her Bitmoji and you can add your own with the Bitmoji extension through Google Chrome. So I could simply like add myself here. Let's say I want to do this one. I would just paste it in here and I can, you know, change all the images to myself now. And so this is a great way that you can share out with other teachers. So if you had a, you know, a document that you really, really like, or a graphic or a form or a poster or an assignment, whatever, that can be easily like, you know, personalized or changed, or maybe it's a template. All you have to do is make sure that you're within the document. It took me a long time to figure this out because I tried to share it, and the fastest way that I found, or the pretty much the only way that I found that I could do it, was within the actual document. When you're ready to share it, you just grab the code up here, but you have to change where it says edit to copy. And so then, and I'm going to share this with you all too. Let me just make sure it works. Okay, so here you go. So now if you click on it, now you'll have your own, and you can change out your own, whatever, however you want to change it, because then you own a copy of it. All right, so so that was how I, where was I? So again, like I said, for the activities that I've made, and maybe you want the students to go watch a video, or maybe they have to go do an activity, or you know, whatever it is. Maybe they have to take a quiz, that you have it linked to a Google form for a quiz. You can add, you know, images here and then simply link them by clicking on the link and adding that code that's going to redirect the student. So to share this, like let's say I wanted to share this with my students on Google Classroom. I'm done and I'm ready to go. And maybe I wanted to add my little, where was I? My cute little picture here. Oh man. Okay. So I thought that I was gonna save it as a video, but they only save it as a GIF. So anyways, all right. So to share this out, what I would do is I'm going to go to the up in the top right corner here, and I'm going to share a link. So, which is different than sharing. So up here, if you share it here, like John Karkeet and we share stuff. Like we have a folder. Technically, he's a student in my class. So because I have a paid version, so I invite John and we collaborate and work on items in a shared folder where we can work together on different documents. So don't share it that way. What you want to do is click download, or you know, this here, shared link, and that is going to give you the link where the students will be brought just to this page. Well, actually any page that's in the document. So if you don't want anything else sent to the students, like if I didn't want this, which I don't care because I needed it here, but and the students, if they click on it, they'll just, you know, go back because there's nothing here. So in my Google Classroom, I'm going to go to math. So you can share it out with your students by adding a link. So I would just add the link here. So I just pasted that link. And then I might say, please click on the link below and complete 2 centers with your partner. Do not forget to turn in your work. Okay. So a lot of times what I find, what I hear that's difficult from teachers is if you're doing things that are external from your LMS that don't integrate well, that it's difficult to hold students accountable and to see their progress on, or to see their work. So if, for example, you know, Kahoot, for example, if you want to see how the students did on the quiz, and you don't want them logging in or anything like that, you want them simply just to take the quiz, you can teach the students to take a screenshot or capture shot of their results. And they can then upload that later to an evidence or collection of evidence through a Google form or through a Microsoft form. So I'll show you what that means. So when students click on this, it'll bring them directly here on their iPad or whatever it might be. And so they can click on the different centers. Now, if they're done, they can click where it says click here. And this brings them to a Microsoft form that I created for centers. So the students would turn it in. So they'd have to write their name, the day of the week, and and the date. So Tuesday, 7/28, and then upload their work. And so right now I have a limit of 4 files that they can upload. And then if they have any comments or questions. So that would be kind of their exit ticket, basically, of that they've participated in centers today. And then I can, see how they did on their work. So that's just an idea of how you can keep track of student work. If you want, you could have a turn it in for all the time. Because technically, if you wanted to add a drop-down box for the different subjects of the day, you could do that as well. To where then you can export all of the data that you collect. So let's say you have this one turn it in form, and I would take away math centers, but maybe it was, for my whole class. And you could have selection drop down of choose your class, and it could be, science, social studies, religion, math, ELA. And when a student clicks on that and they have to, click their name, you can disaggregate the data once you export it from forms, Office forms or Google Forms, to where then you can have it, sorted by student or by subject and keep track of work that way. That would eliminate having to make multiple forms for multiple different classes. So that's just another idea. Okay, so now I'm going to show you really quickly how to take this and change it into a printable QR code version. And this is a little too, I did this quickly, so I wouldn't probably, well, I'll show you how we can make it more printer friendly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this page. So I'm just going to click on the copy here because I want to keep all of the same information, but I'm going to change it up a bit. Oh, and I forgot to make this large. I do that all the time. Sorry. It's probably like super small on your screens, and I forget to do that, to make it larger. So let me, we'll do 100%. Okay. So let's say I want to change this up a bit. I'm going to change, well, let me change all the font first, because that's going to be confusing if all the font goes away when I change the background to white. And okay, so I'm going to change all of this to like a dark purple. I think that's good. We just need to change this one to dark purple. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to change all of my background colors to white. And now at the bottom here, it'll say, do you want to change all things that were this dark purple to this new color? So that's a quick, yes, I want to do that. Or no, change it to, wait, why is it? Okay. Hold on, sorry. Let me see if I can do it this way. White, change all. I don't know why it's not letting me do it, because normally it does, but, oh, maybe I have to click on it, click check, and then click the color I want it to change to. So let me try it again. So purple, want to change it to white, and then if I click, okay, you see how I did that just then? If I click it, if there was multiple slides and things, and actually, see, I think I just messed up my other page because it changes all of the color for the whole document. So let me actually redo that really quick because I don't want to change all that. Okay, sorry. So let me get rid of that. I'm just going to manually change. Oh, I had all the writing. Sorry. Okay, 2 seconds. Okay. Oh, I missed this guy again. All right, so here we go, sorry. So if I wanna change, you know, the background here, I'm gonna choose not to have it change all of the other ones because like I don't want the whole document to change here. So let me change this to white. Why is this not working? Oh, because I think that's my background, because these are blocks actually, yeah. So let me just change my background color to white also. All right, so now what I can do is it's a little bit more printer friendly. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change all of these to QR codes. And I used to use an external, if you don't use Canva, you can use a good QR code generator is QR Code Monkey, I believe is what it's called, but it's QR Code Monkey. And so that one's really fast and easy to use. But this is embedded within the program as an add-on, and it's so fast. So let's say I want to change this. I'm just going to grab the link because I know that that's the link that I want to use. I'm just going to copy it. And now I'm going to click on QR. So over here on the left, we have the QR code here. Or it might be for you, if you haven't used it in a while, it would be under More. And so once you've used it a couple of times, it'll show up in your panel here. So I literally just paste the link and I click generate, boom, done. Delete, and I'm just going to replace this here. Okay, and so that's how fast it is. It's freaky fast, Jimmy John's. Okay, so I'm going to copy, same thing here, delete, paste, generate, done. Okay, so easy peasy lemon squeezy. And then, so what this does then, it allows for you to take this offline. And that way you don't have to have the students, you know, going through the digital link if you don't want them to. And let me paste this here. Now the other thing is you want to make sure that you also do this for the turn it in, because I missed that myself when I was printing it out. I forgot the turn it in. So what I'm going to do is move this up, and I'm going to make this a little bigger and move this up. And I can even say like, oops, because I'm trying to get around this screen. There we go. I could say done, question mark. Turn in your work here. Okay, so let's say this is going to be, I'm going to let me make sure I need the code. Okay, that doesn't have one. So it's the button that has the code. All right, so this is my turn it in form. And so I've copied it, and then I'm going to paste it in the QR generator. Like, oh my gosh, isn't this just insanely easy? That's, if you're used to making QR codes like in an external document or external platform, for me, this was like a game changer. Because I don't use Seesaw, obviously, right now. I'm not teaching. So anything I was making for QR codes was through QR Code Monkey. All right, so that's there. And then maybe I would add an arrow. And here's my arrow. Okie dokie. And let me make this a little bit smaller, not too small. Now, I will also tell you that if you do print out this stuff, just make sure that, and test it a couple times. I've run into the issue of laminating QR codes, and then it's difficult for the camera to pick it up. Not always. If it's really small, then it's difficult. If it's larger, then it's fine. And then I would have to teach my students that too, that like if I'm holding the camera up to a QR code, to make sure that it's not, getting that a glare from the lights or something, but to maybe hold it out to where there's no direct light, scan it, and then you're good to go. All right, so that's a quick way of how you can turn the same exact thing from digital to print version, but the links still bring you to the same links. So it will still be digital on their iPad, but it's just one less place they have to go on their iPad or their Chromebook. So let me pause Are there any quick questions before I continue? What do y'all think so far, right? The Canva and QR codes, I was like, what? All right, so well, I'm gonna keep going then. Okay, am I going too fast? Okay, I'm trying not to go too fast, but I'm also trying not to go slow. All right, so let me share again. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you, the next thing I wanted to show you is something that I did to hopefully help you save time as a teacher, and that is to make, let me go to centers here. That is to make pre-made center cards. So you could do this in a number of ways. So basically what I've done is I have two documents. One is for the cards that you can change out all the time. The other is going to be housing the answers. Once you make the cards and they're printed, you pretty much don't need to go back into this Canva account other than to change the answers. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So I've made here 10 cards. So you could put them, there's a couple ways you could do this. It could be just one center, right? So we're eliminating all of the paper to where you could have this even posted on the wall, okay? So where the students aren't even gonna touch them. You don't have to make them this big, it's just how I made them. So maybe you have on, if you're using it as a center, let's say we're doing math centers, okay? So let's say for card number 1, I'm gonna say 3 times 1. Okay, so the student is gonna be working on their own on this problem. What is 3 times 1? I don't know. Okay, so what is 5 times 2? And so maybe the student is, you know, working on these problems. Now, how I have it right now is linked to a certain space in the web, which is through my answer sheets. So I'm gonna pull that up for you. Okay, so for card 1, if like, let's say I'm doing, you know, math centers and I know my problems 1 through 10. So I am just going to simply add this answer here. So I'm going to say 3 times 1 is 3. Okay, so I'm gonna make this really large for the students, and let me make this even smaller here. Okie dokie. All right, so 3, and then of course problem number 2 was 5 times 2 is 10. So I'm gonna put that here. Okay, let's change it out. All right, so this is live populated. So basically right now, I'll just show you with my phone that let's say I'm at this center and I'm doing my problem and I come up with, okay, 3 times 1 is 3. And I take my iPad and I'm gonna just shine it on the QR code, and let me do it like, see, there's with the glare. I'll click on it, and so right now it's not saying, okay, I just refreshed it, so it says 3. Okay, and I'll just show you the other one too. So if I go to my camera again, so 5 times 2, I'm done the problem. Oh, I think that it's 12. So I'm gonna scan the code and check my work to see what it might be. Okay. I'm trying to show you guys, but really I should just do it like this because it'll be faster. Okay. So, and then it's gonna show you 10. Now, another cool thing that you could do is you could, you know, do a tutorial. So if you wanted on your phone, for example, let's say I'm going to record myself writing this problem out. You could do it using, you know, a multitude of different types of tools. But let's say I'm going to say, okay, so 3 times 1. So that means that we have a group of 3 and we only have it 1 time, which means 3 times 1 equals 3. So I just recorded myself on my phone. You could use, of course, your webcam or a document camera. I'm just gonna upload this to my Google Drive because my AirDrop doesn't work on this old Mac. So once I have this video in my Google Drive, Now I can add it into here to where I can be helping a student understand how I got that answer without having to stop what I'm doing if I'm working with a small group. And maybe this can help mitigate some of those problems or questions. Let me see, sorry, of course I'm like trying to go fast and this happens. Okay, so let me see, it should be up here now. Oh wait, I didn't upload it yet, that's why. Upload takes a couple seconds to go and it's done already. So I'm just gonna refresh again, it should be here. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna download this video that I just made, an explanation as to how I got what 3 times 1. And now I'm going to simply go to uploads here. So I'm gonna just drag this in here. And it's gonna insert the video. And then I'm gonna just put it over here. Okie dokie. And so now when the student, goes to, where's my card here? Now with the camera, as a student, if I go to photo and I click, I'm gonna try to scan this code here. I should just do it like this. Okay, so now it's gonna show me 3 is the answer, and then I have my video here. I'm gonna say, okay, so 3 times 1. So that means that we have a group of 3 and we only have it 1 time, which means 3 times 1 equals 3. So super quick and easy. Now what's neat about this is, so let's say I already have my cards. These are already done. Now let's say I want the students to, hold on, I need to get my, and if you don't know what a Vis-A-Vis marker is, they're one of my all-time favorite tools of all time. I always have like a ton of Vis-A-Vis markers. I would, you know, if the students are touching these, then I would recommend Vis-A-Vis, which, you know, Expo Vis-A-Vis, this is back from, you know, what were they called? The transfer projectors in the classroom, the overhead projectors. But it works like a Expo marker, except it seems permanent. It comes off with water. So let's say now I'm doing a different activity. Maybe this is a full center. Maybe I say on this, I'm going to say, go take the Kahoot quiz. Okay, I'm not changing anything. I've already printed these out. So what I know is that this is card 1. So on here, on this document where all my answers are, what I would do then is either I would embed the quiz or maybe there's a word problem here or whatever it might be. It could be anything. So let's say they scan this. If I want them to go to take the Kahoot quiz, for example, let me just grab that code really quick because I don't know what it is. Let me see. Grab the code here. Actually, I can just copy this whole thing. All right, so if I go back here, so once students get here, they scan it. I just want to make sure the code's there. Okay. So now if this says go take the Kahoot quiz, if I go to my iPad and I scan this now, see what I'm saying about the glare? So sometimes it has a hard time seeing it because of the glare. Oh, there we go. Takes a couple times. All right, so now what it did was it brought me to the slide where it has the little button. Click on it, boom, Kahoot. Time saver. So all you have to do is, once you print out your cards, you can do so many things with these. You could do ELA, you could have it go to different, you could have it go to that shared Google Slides document where now all those students are gonna work together. So that's just another way of going around it. So see, now the students can't wipe it off. This is an interesting quick little side note. I learned about Vis-A-Vis when I taught middle school for the first time. And because I would, outside my classroom, I would have a whiteboard that said, you know, what we were doing for that day and whatever. Anyway, the students kept defacing my whiteboard, right? They're middle school students. So they would, you know, if I had like a Mickey Mouse, they would take their little finger and you know, deface my stuff. So one day I did the Vis-A-Vis and they couldn't figure out like why they couldn't erase it. So I was like, it was a huge win moment for me versus the 8th graders. So fun times. So anyway, so that's another way that you can do this. So as I was saying, you need 2 documents to do this. Now I'll show you how I did this. Okay, so I have my cards here. So this is the part where it takes a little bit of time, but not too much time. So, and let me, hold on, let me exit out of everything else because then I won't be going back and forth and trying to figure out where I am. Okay. All right, so answers. I'm gonna make all of this blank. So basically all you do here is you make one slide, okay? The name of it, answers, and then I just copied and pasted it 10 times, and then all I did was change answer, 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 you know. So once you're done, and you want to use this all year, don't add anything in between the slides. So right now I have 1 through 10. If I wanted to add 10 more, great, but add them at the end, because once we hyperlink this, if you were to add a new slide, let's say in here, everything else is going to be changed, and it's gonna shift everything, and all the hyperlinks will bring you to a different page. So because right now, technically, if I hyperlinked this, and I'll show you in a second, this will be considered as page 1. This is page 2, page 3, page 4. If I inserted something in here, like let's say I put something here, blank slide. Now, even though I've hyperlinked everything and I've made the QR codes and all this stuff, even though this says answer 2, now it's slide 3. And this is slide 4, slide 5, everything's pushed off and moved and wonky. So if you have to add anything or make any changes, add it at the end. All right, so now I have all my answers here, or my placeholders really. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna technically publish this to the web. So I'm gonna click share link. So up here I clicked share link, and it's gonna give me that link where I can share it out with other people, but so anyone can view it, but no one can edit it. Okay, so this is just to view. So copy. Now I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna say paste. All right, so this is the important step. So now each of these technically has its own placeholder on the web, okay? So now what you're gonna do is, no matter what, if you go back to that document where it has, you know, these, but you can edit it, I can change it and it's gonna populate in real time to their individual links. So if I go back to my cards here, for example, I'm just gonna delete the first couple to show you how I did this. All right, so let's say my card's ready. This is how it looks. Let me just give you an example other than that it's card 1, okay? So this is not here, it's just this right now. So if I want it to go to that first answer page, so answer 1 to pair with card 1. So here we are here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this link, and you see at the very end, it says number 1. So that's the first slide in this publication. So if I go back here, now I'm gonna go to my QR. So I'm gonna hit more QR code. I'm just gonna simply hit paste, generate, boom, done. Now, instead of going back to keep going back and forth, all I have to do is change this to the next page, so 2. So I'm gonna click 2. And I'm gonna make sure I'm on this slide, generate code, boom, done. And then the next one, same thing. So I'm gonna go to the end of this code. I'm gonna change it to 3, generate code, boom, done. Okay, so time saver. So once this is done, basically, like once I print everything out, no matter what, if I close the door on this document, anytime a student scans this code, it's going to bring me to the first page here. And it could say anything. It could be a clip. It could be a video. You could have, you know, like embedded a YouTube video, for example, or a link to a project that they're working on, or a paper, or a quiz. Anything you want, anything that you can link, you can put it here, as long as it corresponds with, you know, the number, right? So that's where it can get confusing. So once I do this, I'm not even going to touch this document. I'm not even going to do anything. And actually, you can lock the document. I think you can lock it by, well, actually, maybe not. I thought you could lock the whole thing, but maybe it's you can only lock certain items. So you can lock like the QR code. So if you go back and you want to like add something to it, or maybe you want something typed out here, or whatever, like if you wanted to do this digitally, you could as well. But if you want to make sure you remember not to change the code because it goes somewhere else. And you know, so once you have it done, you don't want to keep changing it. You can change this document all day long, right? You could change this to really say anything or be anything, right? If it was a riddle or something and they didn't know what the answer was, bubble gum. Is bubble gum one word? No, it's 2 words. Actually, I don't really know. Is it 2 words? I don't know. Bad example. Now it's going to bug me all day long. Well, I'm going to look it up in a minute. I think it's 2 words. I don't know. Okay, so anywho, whatever it might be, if you want to do that, if you needed to insert like a video, maybe, or you can, there's a YouTube integration. But the only thing though with the YouTube to be cautious of is that it does pull up thumbnails. So so if you want to just do Edpuzzle or something like that, that might be a better option. Okay, so that is how I do that. And let me make sure, let me see if I'm on task. Is there anyone that has a question? Really quick. Jamboard, Flipgrid. Okay, so we'll go on Flipgrid. Okay. All right.
I had a question, Jennifer.
Yes.
Okay. I love the idea of this. The thing is, if you spend the time creating the answer key, and say I want to use this again, maybe I have 2 classes in middle school that I'm teaching the same thing to, but you know, basically I want to duplicate it, or if I want to save it for like the next year to reuse, would I have to recreate it each time?
So it depends. So do you mean like what I'm understanding is possibly like, let's say, I mean, if it's for like a link to a working document that they're doing together, then yes, you would have to change that if you don't want the 2 classes doing that. But so yeah, that's the one way that you could do that. But if it's simply things like the answer to like let's say the math problem or whatever, they all, unless they're interacting with it, no, you can reuse it. You might have to make several sections though. So like if I'm in, where was I? Centers. So if I'm in, oh, I have to go back this way. If I'm in center, like my document that I've made in here, what I could do is make several placeholders for different subjects if I want, or for different sections. So I could literally copy this whole thing. I could copy it, make a copy of it, but I would just have to change the QR codes. Yeah, so that's the only, I know. And Christina, I know exactly what you're thinking because I taught specials too. I had 32 classes. So I know exactly what you're thinking. So yeah, so it might be a little bit of work on the front end, but once you, and like, so maybe you want to just make, if you, I'm thinking of for your, you teach STREAM or computer science? Both, basically, yeah. So, okay, so what I would do is I would make one probably per grade level or grade band, and then like a set per grade level. So it'll be a little bit of front end work, but then once you have like first grade stream cards, then you don't have to change it for the whole year. You would just have to change your answers. Yeah. So it's a little bit of more work on that front end, but that's how I can think of how it would work. Any other questions? Okay, well then I'm going to show you guys, the next bit is just a couple quick apps to share with you. You may be familiar with them, but maybe not. So I'm just going to share them with you anyway. So one of the big apps that I really love for student collaboration, where they can interact with each other, but it's going to be on an individual or partner basis. You could do it for groups as well, because I've done it for groups in one of my trainings. And so that is called Flipgrid. And so Flipgrid is a basically a discussion board or forum where the students have the ability to either videotape their response or to use audio for their response to a question. We've done it before where like a whole group had to explain a topic. One person is videotaping and the whole group works. You could do it like this for presentations, for example. You could have, we've done before where the students do those, you know, like the sketch whiteboard videos. Have you all seen that before, where it looks like a whiteboard, a tutorial? And I'll show you all of this, but basically the students make a whiteboard tutorial. One person records, the student is drawing out and they're talking at the same time that they're explaining a topic. But then there's no actual video of the people. The students can black out the background to where they don't have to show their face, but they can just use their voice to record. And then students can comment on each other as well. And you can monitor this as a teacher. So let me sign in really quick here to my Flipgrid. Okay, so I have several different grids, and you can have different topics within a grid. So this would be for specials, for example, Christina, I would have a grid per each class, and then within I would have the different topics or assignments you might have. So this is an example I did with a group of teachers for a clinical educator training. So as a group, and I think Christina, you were in this group, right? Are you? No. So basically what this group did is they worked in small groups, and one student, I'm going to turn the volume down. So one student was writing, one was videotaping, and the other was like that voiceover explaining the concept that they had. Let me see if I have a different one. Let me see this one. And theirs was sideways, but basically they had to, they were given a small excerpt from an article about feedback, and they had to add, with their topic, there was 1 through 7 topics, they had to explain the topic by using just illustration. So someone was talking and they were illustrating it. So students would watch it, and then you could have you could say, okay, I need you and your group are gonna go watch 2 other students' Flipgrids and respond. Give a comment or give a verbal response to the student. You as the teacher, of course, can catch all of the videos before they get published. So you can preview them if you want, or you can choose not to. You can add a code or a password to your grids if you want to as well. And so yeah, so that's another way that maybe like if you're doing, or I had come up with this is an example, I don't have any posts on it, but this is an example of like a summer class blog, or maybe if you have a class blog or class discussion where this is just an example where I'd say, okay, this is a week 1 check-in from summer. Hi everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful summer. I know most people are not traveling right now, but we can still connect as a group and share what we're doing for fun. And so as students, you put on a time limit. So maybe you put a minute, or you could, I think you can go up to like 20 minutes of the student can record themselves. And so I'll show you how to do that. So the students would be given a code. So you'll share this out to your students. So they can either put this in or they can simply scan the QR code, and I'll just show you because I'll just scan it really quick on my phone. But you'll have to log in. The students have to have a login. Not always. Oh, I don't know what the password is. I set a password on this. Oh, Lordy. No, that's not it. Oh, hold on. I didn't realize I did this for a different tutorial. But you can change the permissions on your Flipgrid. Where is it? See, here's a video moderation. Maybe I have it under, I don't want to get too far into the woods here, but if I can't figure it out really quick, then I'm not gonna mess with it. Wait, code, there should be a spot for password. Oh yeah, there is a password, but all right, I'm just gonna say no password for right now. Okay, sorry, so now this should work. Let's see. I might have to rescan it. Okay, so I'm gonna scan this, go back, where was I? To, okay, oh, because I didn't hit update. All right, so now if I share this with myself, I'm gonna share, and see it has the integration where you can put this into your Google Classroom or Microsoft Teams, or even embedded code if you're using a different program. So I'm gonna grab this here. Okay, so now it's bringing me to the pad, or the Flipgrid. So now I can do my response. I'm going to open it in my app because I have the app already. There's not as much logging in and all this stuff if it's integrated into Google Classroom. And once you've logged in, it lasts for a while. I just haven't been on it in quite some time. Okay, so maybe I'm going to record myself. I'm going to say, this summer I did nothing, but I really enjoyed spending time with my children and my husband. Okay, so I recorded myself. I'm gonna click next. Next. It asks you to take a selfie, but there's other ways to go around it, and I have a whole video on Flipgrid, so I'm just gonna take a picture, and then I'm gonna submit. So now on this grid, if I refresh, it'll have my video here, and the students would be able to see this of me, you know, and they could respond and blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of cool. And then, you know, there's a way where you can obviously respond where they don't have to show their face. But like I said, I have a whole video on that. So that's Flipgrid. And that's a great way for students that are at home to still communicate with the peers that might be in the classroom, because they still feel like they're part of the conversation because everyone's posting on their own video here. And that might be a great way to include those students that are distance learning. The other way to do this is through Padlet. Padlet is also another place where you can, where students, you make a board, basically a discussion board, and you can set it up however you want. So the way that I have this one, this was an example I had to do for a class. So this was just an introduction where the students were to introduce themselves, the school, and some fact about themselves. You can upload an image, so students could upload a picture of their work if they wanted to. You can also, so they click plus on the bottom here. So the student can add a photo. They can add a link. They can do a video here too, if they wanted to just do a video recording or a drawing or whatever. So this is a great way. You could do this as a turn it in space too, because students, but the students will be able to see it, right? So whoever's on the Padlet can see it. You can put permissions on this. Right now I have mine to anyone with the link can add to it. But you can change the background, whatever you want. So this is just another way that you can collaborate together, because maybe it's, you know, an entrance ticket. Maybe you want the students, instead of doing like the little post-it notes or an exit ticket, for example, tell me, or what is your understanding of the learning goal today, or, you know, whatever it might be. So the students would, you know, type their response, whatever, and then you as a teacher can go in and you can leave a comment for them. Other students can leave a comment to each other, but you can turn that on and off. So this is just a virtual discussion board, basically. So that's another one. And then the last one is called, that I wanted to share with you, is called Soapbox. And I have not been on this in a long time, so I'm wondering if I'm gonna even, I don't even remember what, let me see, so this is what pops up. Soapbox discussion board. Let's see if it, oh, I think it's called Go Soapbox is what it is. Go Soapbox. Okay, so this is another like a student response system. So I'm just gonna sign in. I hope it's auto-saved. Yes, oh thank goodness. Okay, so this is another thing where you can do, you can send stuff out to students. So like you can add students in here too. So I've used this before. Okay, so let me click on this, goals. Yeah. Okay, so I had done this one time in a training where I made QR links to these 5 different, so basically on little pages like this, I had a QR code, and then I had a non-SMART goal it was for clinical educators learning how to make SMART goals. So it might say, I want my students to behave. That's not a SMART goal, right? So I wanted them to scan it and turn it into a SMART goal with their partner. So I had, like, let's say this was number 3. For number 3 here, I created a QR code. So then when the student or when the teachers scanned this code, it would pop up on their digital device for them to add a reply. You can have it to where they see the other students' replies. The reason I like this one is because, or why I like Go Soapbox is because you can house multiple different types of questions, but they don't all have to be pushed out in one screen. Like Flipgrid, it's all going to be one. In Padlet, it's all going to be one space. Whereas this, I could have the students, I could have it scanned to here, for example, and then the students would have to click on each one and add their comment. Or like I said, I could have it go to individual pages if I want to, which you can with Padlet and Flipgrid, but this is just a quicker way, in my opinion, to organize better. But I'm gonna do a whole other video on Go Soapbox. But basically it's just another tool that you can use. And let me make sure that I touched on everything today that I wanted to. Are there any questions so far? So let me just make sure. Jamboard, I did slides. Yes. Flipgrid, yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. I did all that. All right. And I'm like a little over an hour, so not bad. Okay. Let me stop sharing my screen. Okay. So are there any questions? I know I went over a lot of stuff, but I hope that at least it got your mind thinking of, you know, with this, they don't have to touch. And like I said, other than Christina or teaching specials, it is going to be a little bit more work on the front end. But in the long run, you're not printing out centers every day. You literally could create one of these, this idea, and replicate it for all your subjects. And then boom, you have centers for the year that the students aren't touching, but they can collaborate with each other in real time in the classroom or outside of the classroom, right? Even in a group. So that's just a way that we can kind of go about it. Is there anyone that has something similar that they want to share? Maybe a tool that they found this summer, or maybe another idea of digital centers that you can think of that would add to this conversation? Just wondering, because I'm like, I've been on, have y'all been on the Bitmoji group on Facebook? Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna stop recording